Keeping it real with Shannon.
Until I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was disgusted with what I saw. So I said, you gotta make a change, man.
It's all about fun, laugh, and getting through life. That's what it's all
I find you have everything to gain with Christ, and without him, everything to lose.
Said I'm gonna lay you down, just like a bridge over troubled water.
Hi, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am so excited to have two special guests on joining us from the company One in One Life. And we have joining us is Mr. Corey Lewis, who is the co-founder and CEO, and Thomas Drew, who is the co-founder of One in One Life. Let's welcome them to the show. Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
welcome.
Hey, and thanks for having us. Thank you.
Oh, so excited to see both of you tonight. I can't wait to talk to you. Just tell us about One in One Life and how you got started with this company.
So I won't do it too heavy of a story just because I know, we have a certain amount of time, but basically One in One Life, where we are now, T Drew, who's my best friend, as well as obviously my business partner, as he's the co-founder of this company. Where we are now and how we look at mental health, it's something that's a truly passionate topic for us. So One in One Life as a whole is a health and wellness platform that reviews, blogs, discuss everything in the health and wellness space. We break our content into 7 dimensions of wellness. So mental wellness, financial wellness, physical wellness, social wellness, emotional wellness, environmental wellness. So we have a huge list of how we look at things. Because T Drew and myself are so passionate about mental health, it has kind of taken the lead for us in terms of what we want to focus on. And especially during these times with the pandemic and with all the social issues going on in our country and around the world in general. And it has been happening for a long time. I know myself and T Drew have dealt with mental health situations and experiences, not only for ourselves, but along with other people in the past. So it's become truly important for us to utilize the platform that we've built to continue to shine light on mental health and create content around mental health, to continue to build a community around bettering people mindset and building a community that allows people to come to have a place to ultimately work on mental health and be able to talk about it and to destigmatize the issues that usually come with mental health, as people continue to look down on people who have mental health issues. But a lot of people, for that reason, hold it in. So for us, we want to create a community and a platform that kind of stepped away from that realm and really build community.
So let me ask this question, because when it comes to men, like regardless of whether it's mental health or prostate cancer, any kind of illness, what is it that you think with men that they feel that they can't, let people know when something is wrong, or they, not feeling up to themselves? Like, why is a stigma for them to, talk about what's going on with them?
I think for men, I think it's a combination of gender norms and societal expectations. So, when you think about how most men are raised, and I don't want to, make generalizations for people's experiences growing up as men, but for the most part, as a man, you're taught to, be tough. You're taught to hold things in, and being tough is actually being vulnerable. Corey and I, we had Ludacris as a guest on our podcast, and we were talking to Ludacris. He said, strength is in vulnerability. And Ludacris is someone that Corey and I, obviously, as an artist and entrepreneur, just being Black men, we've looked up to someone like Ludacris our whole life. And for him to say that, someone as successful as him in so many disciplines, I feel like that is the insight that we need to take away. But to directly answer your question again,
I think it is, we're in the year 2020. And when you think about, my parents are baby boomers, and even the generation before that, the way that men are raised and the way that, men are seen in society is as a man, you just don't open up. And every 40 seconds, someone takes their own life, and people don't understand that as far as suicide rates, men are at the top. Men lead as far as percentages and people taking their own lives. And it's a lot because men bottle things up. We feel like we're not able to talk about it. And the favorite analogy I use is a water balloon. You can continue to fill a water balloon up with water, and water balloons are, they can stretch a lot, right? So over the course of a life, if you get to even being 60 years old, that water balloon gets really big. But at some point, if you keep filling that up, it's going to burst. And that's really what not being able to deal with not being able to let that water out of the water balloon. That's what a lot of men have to deal with. And so I think that's where it stems from.
So I wanted to ask, what are some of the issues that you think that are prohibiting mental illness to be a major concern in the Black and brown community? Why is it so prevalent that people are not seeking help?
So I think to piggyback off what T. Drew has mentioned, I think, again, especially in the male, I think for us, I think as a community, as a Black community, we tend to look down on people who deal with mental health issues for whatever reason, for the unfortunate reason that may be, because the stigma that comes with mental health is that you just have issues, or, but in reality, a lot of people have mental health issues who a lot of times hold that stuff in, as T. Drew mentioned, with the water balloon analogy. They hold it in until they just burst. And then, unfortunately, if we don't deal with these issues, we'll never find a solution. We'll never build the communities that are necessary. And then people will continue to take their lives, or it just becomes too late to where there's no way for us to figure out a way to deal with the mental health issues that are prevalent amongst people. And, unfortunately, in our community, I feel like it's just because it's looked down upon. So people are, almost scared. It's like the kid who has a hard time learning in class, who doesn't want to raise his hand, to ask a question about a math problem when it seems like everybody else gets it. So I that's how I look at mental health. When in reality, there's multiple people who have a question about that math problem, but that they don't want to be the first one to kind of jump out there. So I think within our community, that's kind of where it stands.
So how do we begin to start the narrative?
We need more access to resources, because it's one of those things. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of these things that people are feeling, whether it's, anxiety or depression, or, maybe you think you may be bipolar, or like whatever it is, whatever mental health thing you're going through, instead of, feeling that you're weird, or instead of feeling like this is something that can't be solved, the first step is knowing that you're not alone, and that comes with conversation. And the second step is figuring out how to rectify it, which comes from the access to resources. And so to me, it's a combination of capital, resources, and conversation. And through that, I think we can build change and awareness.
Absolutely.
Also, I think too, we have to start really bonding with each other, and men bonding with other men who you can have that conversation with when you're not feeling like yourself, or you might be having problems at home, or something might be going on the job. You need to have some kind of support team to talk to, because I don't know what it is. Like, even when you try to talk to the men sometime, like your husband or boyfriend or whatever, when something is going on, they just shut down. Like, they don't want to talk, like they shouldn't tell you anything. So I think if we could get through to men to let them know, look, we are here for you. People are here for you. Your family is here for you. So when you're feeling down and depressed, it makes you feel so much better when you can ventilate and talk to someone else about what's going on with your situation. You feel much better about it. And then we need to be able to reach out and help each other, because sometimes we don't want to help each other. We rather talk about the person rather than reaching out and help them. And I think if we could get past some of those things, then I don't think people would be as depressed as they are, because we're always going to have some kind of something going on in the world that we're going to have to deal with, and we gotta find out how to deal with these things.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I was talking to somebody else today. I mean, we haven't lived through a pandemic in the last 150 years. So everybody has some type of mental health thing right now, because the world is in a messed up place. So, along with this type of stuff, that's the timing. I mean, it's not, this is a conversation that is needed to be had for a long time, but I feel like now it's much more prevalent, not only with the rise of social media, and there's good things about social media, but there's also bad things about social media, in combination with we have never lived through a more trying time than what we live through right now, besides the original civil rights movement, and then the second civil rights movement, which initially, kind of somewhat just happened. So it's a whirlwind of things and emotions, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think everybody's going through a mental health thing right now in some capacity, and that's why this stuff is so important.
Yes,
Well, we're going to come back and talk more with Corey and Drew, and thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back.
Spending time outdoors has never felt more valuable. Whether it's exploring nature or relaxing in your yard, let's do it responsibly. Before going out, check for closures and fire restrictions. Practice social distancing, even when outside and on the trail. Back at home, if burning yard debris, keep your pile small. And no matter where you are, be sure to properly extinguish any outdoor fire. Drown, stir, drown, feel. We're all in this together. Help keep our safe places safe.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Hi, if you're just joining us, our special guest today is Mr. Corey Lewis and Mr. Thomas Drew from One and One Life. Now, before we went to break, we was talking about different things. So what would you suggest some things that men can do? Even though we're talking about the men, but I guess we can also talk about other people with mental illness as well. But what are some things that they could do, say just getting up every day, to kind of keep your mind on track? I know, Drew, you had said something about you get up, make up your bed every morning. I do the same thing. I make up my bed every day, because that's just of soothness to me is, making sure everything is put in place and clean, and so it's like some little things that I think people can do to keep their mind straight and not worry about stuff that you don't have no control over.
Right. I'm actually going to pass this one to Corey, because I think he has a tremendous routine. It's very, very interesting. So I think he definitely should share that.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm not saying I keep it to myself. I've obviously mentioned it and discussed it. I think finding your routine is very important for your mental health and finding your anchor to start your day. I think it does wonders for your mental health. I mean, there's days where, I'm overwhelmed and, I'm like stuck in bed. I'm up, I'm awake, but I'm kind of paralyzed by everything that's going on. And, but what I realized is that once I got this routine to where I read my Bible, I read a book, So I do like 15 minutes each, and I'm mostly into self-help books and things that like, are motivating, inspiring, etc. And then I also play brain games, and simultaneously while I do that, every morning I soak my feet. So like it's all part of my morning routine, but like it sets the tempo for my day as well as working out. And like, I don't work out every morning because sometimes, T Drew and I actually use the same trainer. Sometimes we work out in the afternoon, but like making it a point to exercise and have all of those anchors in my life that keep me in my routine and keep me grounded with my physical wellness and my mental wellness and keeping me, on the right path are truly important. A lot of times I feel like people don't have a routine and they're just kind of all over the place. So like when stuff does go, haywire, there's nothing for them to kind of fall back on, whereas like I always feel like when my life is scrambling, it's because I haven't prayed in a while. I haven't, read my Bible in a while. I haven't been in my routine in a while. So like a lot of people don't have these routines. So like when there's nothing to fall back on, everything just continues to go haywire, So I'm very big, with all the people that I work with in the physical fitness space. Find your routine, with your nutrition, with your physical fitness, and then you'll ultimately get to where you want to be with how you want to look and mentally and physically.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because a lot of people don't know to focus on self-care, and it's really important for the mind. So when you talking to individuals regarding this mental health, do you couple the nutritional factor in with their self-care as well?
Yeah, so we actually have a registered dietitian who's one of our experts, and she works closely with, our clients, people who whether they want to work with her directly or they work to, have a customized program, planned through the One in One Life platform. So she's amazing, and nutrition is very important, especially when it comes to how you want to look, but even also just for how you feel. So, a lot of people eat garbage, and so they feel like garbage, So, there's definitely foods out there that make you more alert. There's definitely more foods out there that just put you in a better mood, help you feel better, and all that good stuff. And there's definitely diets that do the exact opposite. So finding that, that kind of structure with your nutrition is also very important for how you feel and very important for your self-care overall. Because, I mean, T. Drew, I've seen it, like when he's dealing with physical issues, like it takes a toll on him, and him when stuff's taking a toll on him, it takes a toll on me, right? Because we're not only is he my friend, but he's my business partner. So for those reasons, we try to work to find ways to, if he's dealing with something, how can we solve it to move past it? Because I know it ultimately will make him better. He's a very bright, smart person. So I always need him in his best state mentally. So like when he's not, I need to figure out how to get in there. And, sometimes it's just figuring out, what's wrong by process elimination and, just trying to get him in a routine.
Do you think there's enough? Well, they always say it's not, but I know there has to be. I don't know. I know we have resources out there for people that suffer with mental health, is it they're not using it, or is there not enough resources out there to get help? Because there's a lot of people walking around on the street now that every time you hear something on the news, I heard it today as well, somebody getting killed or something because they called the cops or they had mental problems. And what is this that we are not addressing the mental issues that's going on?
I think it's really systematic. I think it is. It's something that is all the attention on this is relatively new, right? Especially as it pertains to men, and especially as it pertains to us talking about it. So, I think the main problem is that people don't know where to go for help. People don't know that help is available. We have to restructure the way people think about therapy, the way people think about having someone to talk to. a lot of times if you have therapy or if you have a support system and a support group, then you may not need to be on some of the medications. Now, something else that people need to really understand is that, there are different types. There's really, forms of depression that are actually chemical imbalances in the brain, right? Which are completely different from, you just having a bad day or feeling sorry for yourself or needing a pep talk, right? Like these are things that are real chemical imbalances that people deal with, and they have to continuously deal with ups and downs. So I think that if there are more systems, processes, and conversations that allow people to identify what they're dealing with, and then after they're able to identify it, then they can find what they need to help them, whether it's a support group, whether it is access to a therapist. I know for a fact that one of the new frontiers with a lot of what's going on with technology and apps and stuff like that are meditation and, therapy, things that are that are technologically and digitally based that allow people to make finding a therapist or finding ways to meditate or finding support groups a little easier. So I think one thing that people need to understand, number one, especially men, is that therapy is an amazing thing. I had a therapist as a child, when I was like 12 to 14 years old, when I was going through not fitting in and things of that nature. I was like a nerd in school and stuff like that. I know Corey has had great experiences with therapy, not only physical therapy, but mental therapy, because Corey has had to persevere through a ridiculous amount of injuries in his professional football career. And therapy is one of those things where you never know how good it is and how beneficial it is until you have it. And I think just as, not just men, but definitely the African-American community, we need to rethink about our relationship with therapy, because nothing but something good can come from therapy. Because you think about all the things that you're sharing, all the things that you bottle up inside, and you're able to share those things and have those things rectified with someone that is confidentially listening to all these things. There may be things that you may not want to take to your mother. There may be things you may not want to take to your best friend or your father. But therapy allows you to really come to terms with yourself. And, as Corey and I believe, wellness is an inside out thing. So if you're not able to get right on the inside, you're not going to look good physically. You're not going to feel well. You're not going to be able to treat other people well. And I think that really starts with things like therapy.
Well, that's so true. That's so true, Drew. Because I want to say there's nothing wrong with therapy. I went to therapy to want to find out why I eat all the time. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm sad. So I thought maybe there was something going on, but I guess it was just one of those things that I just wanted to do on my own. But there's one thing I do want to say to men tonight. If something is going on or you have a problem, whether it's sickness or whatever, talk to someone. Talk to your wife. Talk to your girlfriend. I mean, men have to stop. Forget about what you was taught growing up, that you're supposed to hold everything in. You don't have to hold everything in. You want to cry, you cry. That's what you do. They always say that. And you have to, in this way, you won't feel as depressed as you do when you do feel that way, because now you're talking to someone. Because, my brother just passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he was sick. I didn't even know he was sick into the last maybe 6 or 7 months, because he didn't tell me that he was sick. Why? I don't know. He's dead, and I'm still angry with him because he didn't tell me he was sick. And then by the time I found out he was sick, he was going down the other end. And I don't know why men feel like, because even when I would try to talk to him and suggest things to him, he didn't want you to do that, or, oh, you need to go to the doctor. Why don't you go? It's like they don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to listen to anything you have to say. And it's like torment, because you feel like you can't help the person because they don't want to tell you anything. And I don't know where that's coming from, that men feel they can't talk to us. And I want them to know that's why we're here, for you to talk to us. If you don't want to talk to us, then talk to someone else or whatever. Why are you don't want someone to know you sick? I don't understand that with people that don't want someone to know that they're sick.
Here's my thing. For example, Corey is probably the toughest, strongest biggest person I've ever met, right? He's 6'5", he's 320 pounds, he benches 500 pounds. He was an offensive lineman on the New England Patriots. He's the biggest, strongest man I've probably ever seen in my life. So if he can go to therapy, anyone can go to therapy, right? If, you know, your favorite celebrity or your favorite musician, tons of them, if they can go to therapy, you can go to therapy. And so it's one of those things. It's no longer about, oh, I'm too, like, we got to throw that out of the window. The real strength is in vulnerability. And that's, I think that's a way that I would like to parallel it for anybody who is on the fence. It doesn't make you any less of a man doing it. It makes you more of a man.
100%. And I hear the music coming on. I know we got to wrap. But yeah, Carol, I believe her name was, as Tidra said, you know, obviously I'm not sitting there to tell your family member, this makes you more of a man or anything like that. But, you know, just have the conversation that it's okay to have someone else to kind of be that middleman. And, you know, obviously if they don't want to open up to you because they have that alpha mentality, which most men do. We're very prideful. We feel like we're very alpha. And sometimes we're stubborn. So like, we don't want to open up to our sister or our wife or our girlfriend or, you know, our cousin, whatever it may be. That's just who we are. A lot of times men like to internalize things, but at the end of the day, just let them know you're there for them. And, you know, you think that seeing someone as, you know, who's essentially an outsider from their norm could be helpful. And, you know, I think they may be open to that. And even if you suggest going with them, you know, I know my mother went with me the first time that I wanted to seek help, you know, for my anger management. And like, you know, so it was great. It was great. It's been a blessing for me, and a support system is always key for progress. And, you know, I have a great support system. I have a great family. I'm very blessed, you know, to have a business partner and best friend like T. Drew, and just continue to push forward.
So we want to thank you for joining us today and talking about this important topic. And if you have anyone who's suffering from mental health, you know, talk to them, get them help, find resources from them, because it is out there. And remember to talk to someone. It's always good to talk to someone. So thank you for joining us. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.